Hello, everybody, and welcome to Starting Small Music. I'm Justin McCormick, and you're about to hear a conversation with an artist, musician, and music industry professional on their journey and how they got to where they are today. At Starting Small, we like to take you on a journey uncovering the untold stories of your favorite songs and artists. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Just keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. Try not to be bitter. You gotta do it either way. Keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. So when life throws a jab, you gotta duck out of the way.
How you doing today, Quinn?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So getting right into your story, where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I grew up in Florence, Alabama, Muscle Shoals. Uh, Childhood was good, man. Uh, Relatively, happy. I have a little sister. Both my parents were cool. Um, my dad's a guitar player. Got me into playing music really early. So that's kind of I guess, don't know where it all started, I guess. I don't know.
For sure. When you were growing up, what kind of music was getting played around the house that you kind of have vivid memories of that kind of might have what kind of got you into music, you think?
My dad's a big Steely Dan fan, Dan head, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Growing up I think he graduated high school in 76, 77, and was playing bands there or then. So anything from Steely Dan to Doobie Brothers to like Aerosmith and all that type of stuff. All that was regular around the house, dinner music, all that stuff. My mom was uh, big into Carole King, James Taylor, singer-songwriters like that. Uh, uh, so yeah, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Now, was your dad kind of having like, was your house the place where they would rehearse at? Like, did you ever have like a bunch of musicians coming over your house growing up or?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He was in a couple different bands. Um, uh, Always had a dedicated space, usually in the basement, for anybody to come over, whether it was his friends when I was growing up or when I started playing with friends. I don't know. Our house was always like kind of the incubator, I guess. And funny, guy named Quinn Messer plays bass for Brett Eldridge. He played in a band with my dad when I was like 12, something like that. He was in his mid 20s and ended up on a bill with Brett, uh, 4 years ago, maybe, and
That's
made that connection again that, two Quins, we knew each other when I was a kid, but yeah, that whole thing, I guess, or just friends coming over. There's always music around. There's always a place to play. Uh, yeah, yeah. The
so
opportunity is always there.
I saw you got a drum set like when you were pretty much a toddler. Uh, was this your parents like? Did your dad want you to get into drums pretty early? And what was the reasoning for wanting to get you into drums and not guitar like him?
Well, I think guitar was the first direction that was trying not pushed but presented, I guess. But I was two, and it's really hard for fine motor skills at two to get the hang of that stuff. So I think my fourth birthday, he got me a drum kit. It's always kind of the running joke. He had uh, a close friend growing up. Um, that he formed his first band with. That it was just a two-piece, him on guitar and a drummer, um, Jim Sandlin, I think. Yeah, um, uh, but he tragically died in a car wreck in college, and ever since then, he had, growing up, he always told me that was his drummer until I came around. And it was a joke that, he couldn't find a drummer that he liked, so he just made one. And here I am, So
That's awesome. Now,
anyway,
would you say that you took drums pretty seriously, like from an early age, or was it something you kind of grew into once you realized you were good at it?
man, to be honest, I'm still struggling with the whole am I good at it? And there's like trying
Aren't we
to
all?
evolve always. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's the plight of being human, I feel like. But I latched onto it pretty seriously pretty early on, and was lucky that, not only my parents but my whole family was really supportive, in that aspect. Just the being creative, and I was always a quiet kid and kind of, had a bunch of friends, but uh, on weekends, after school, stuff like that, coming home and playing, you know, uh, was always my go-to. Um, Having dreams of, I guess, doing what I do now when I was really little, uh, knowing the importance of uh, knowing the importance of music in my life and how it made me feel. I always took it very serious. Yeah.
Sure. What did those first bands look like? Was it in high school that you started kind of playing out in your local area?
Uh, yeah, doing my own thing in high school. I grew up in church. Uh, I was raised Catholic for the first part of my childhood,
Mhm.
and in like second grade, first communion, um, my dad was playing guitar every Sunday in mass, and for that mass that Sunday, worked up a version of a song that I brought my drum kit in,
Oh, cool.
um, and played in front of the congregation and stuff. And then for, I think it was second and third grade, uh, uh, we, like, my dad, my sister, and I wrote a couple songs and played them for talent shows and stuff. So like getting in front of people then, uh, uh, we did a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, the musical,
Oh, no way.
yeah, Andrew Lloyd Webber musical when I was in fourth grade. So we learned all the music there and did a production of that. Um, Funny, John Paul White from the Civil Wars, he was the Judas in that play and just like slayed, dude. Is I still think about it now, but that was the first time like actually playing in front of people. The first bands, I guess. Yeah, I was like 15, 14, 15, like seventh, eighth, ninth grade, getting together,
For sure.
uh, playing, uh, playing like pop punk, uh, Reliant K, Taking Back Sunday, stuff like that. Um, First band was called Shiloh Rising with some close friends of mine.
Did you guys do any original material at that time, or was it pretty much all covers?
Uh, it was like, what was it? Maybe 80-20 split, covers to originals. We had a few of our own,
Yeah.
songs, but it was mostly just emulation and playing. I don't know. We were all kind of learning to play. My best friend Justin Murphy, we uh, uh, kind of taught him how to play bass so that he could be in the band, so that we could all play together and do the thing. So
Now,
yeah.
growing up where you grew up at, was there any thoughts of like, I know Muscle Shoals is like a hub for like recording down in the South. Did any of you guys want to like drive up there and like record some of your stuff, or you guys were pretty much just playing live?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was always the I don't know. It's always in the back of your head that it's a uh, that kind of, there's something in the water kind of place. I guess there's always been a lot of music around. Like I said, my dad always played around town and stuff. Knew a bunch of people. Um, but growing up, it all kind of felt, I don't know, uh, especially being younger, and the way that I think about myself, I was always kind of intimidated by older generations of musicians and just like trying to live up to other standards, I guess,
Mhm.
around town. Not only that, but the whole recording thing, especially growing up in like the uh, early 2000s, it all kind of, I don't know, it all gone away. It felt like at the point in time.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like uh, uh, Black Keys came through and recorded Brothers in 2009, 2010, whenever that came out. I think it was 2010. Um, that it kind of like re-put the Shoals like on the map as far as like a current recording um, destination or hub, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Um, uh, the feeling that good things had always happened around town though was there, and like, I don't know. Uh, it's a music town, whether it uh, uh, I don't know what the word is, like uh, uh, lifts up, facilitates the younger generation of trying to do stuff.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Now, what's that last year of high school look like for you? Like, were you already planning on moving to Nashville? When does like the move to Nashville kind of start creeping in your head?
oh man, I didn't think about moving to Nashville until uh, until everything with Riley got really serious. To be honest with you.
Oh, so you
Um,
met him before you even moved?
oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Let's see. Um, grew up in Florence. Went to Florence High until sophomore year. My parents split up. My mom, my sister, and I moved to Birmingham. So I graduated high school from Vestavia in Birmingham. Um, uh, did a semester at Troy, transferred after, like I got into a really low point of like understanding depression and like at a new point in life.
Hmm.
Moved back home to Florence with my dad. Uh, uh, dropped out, eventually kind of dropped out of college twice, from like playing in bands and trying to do that thing regularly, just like having a bunch of friends and playing with whoever I could. Um, for what was that? Moved back to Florence in 2010. And I think I moved to Nashville in 2017.
Okay, wow.
So it was maybe, yeah, it was 17, 18, something like that. Uh, so it was more for the longest time of just like not grinding, trying to, I mean, getting
Yeah.
out of Florence was the goal. Um, but for lack of a better term, the uh, almost nihilistic view of life in your early 20s and like playing a bunch of rock music in dark places and um, uh, nothing matters, which means everything matters, and this moment right now is all that we have, so let's just put everything we have into right now.
Yeah.
um, uh, just a very like kind of punk DIY mindset. um, uh, so for the longest time, I was just focused on doing whatever I could with my
Yeah.
friends, whether it was surf rock, like psychedelic punk with a band called the Gnarly Charlies, or like this like I don't know Frank Ocean inspired soul rock outfit called Follow Apollo, and a bunch of other bands around town. Um, we were all trying to get out and play as much as we could in front of as many people, as many places as we could.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Moving to Nashville was like on down the priority list as far as I was concerned, though.
For sure. Now,
Yeah.
where do you meet Riley in that process? I mean, you're playing in a bunch of rock bands. Like, is it through one of your college experiences? How do you meet Riley?
One of my best friends, Nathan Lane, one of the best bass players I've ever gotten the privilege to play with, was uh, he was bass player in Follow Apollo. Um, Picking up gigs with a dude named Joseph Baldwin around the shoals. He's been a country singer songwriter around here for a long, long time, or not. He's not a long, long time. It makes him sound old, but like dude's been at it for a minute. Like picking up
Yeah.
gigs with him and a couple other bands around town. If they ever needed a drummer, he called me,
Yeah.
and that was the same thing that happened with Riley. He was playing in Gadsden one night, and I wasn't busy, and he's like, "You want to drive 3 hours, make a couple $100, play a bunch of country songs?" I was like, "I've never done that before, and I'm totally down." So that was the first time. Met Riley that night, and then ever since, it's been kind of been his dude, I guess.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
coming from like playing in
I got
like
lucky.
coming from playing in like a bunch of different rock bands, did you feel any stigma going into the country world? I know some people like are just like, I play rock and like that's my lane, or like were you
Yeah,
always open to just trying something like new?
dude, I love all types of music. I'm a bit of an idiot. Um, uh, I could be dense at times. So like my knowledge of music can be, I don't know. Uh, I feel like, I don't know. I might be one of those people that's forgotten more than I know. or might be that perpetual thing.
Mhm.
Um, but like I love all types of human expression, man, and like being a part of anything that uplifts people. I love being a part of something bigger than myself. So like playing with any type of band, playing with any type of whatever. I'm always worked on trying to be the best player I can and be the best person I can, servicing whoever I'm playing with, whatever song we're playing, whatever style of music, just trying to be the best version of me that I can be.
Yeah.
I know that like I'm a bit of a caveman drummer, and coming into country, knowing that I'm a hard hitter and I like interesting stuff. The history of country music doesn't lend itself much to like really interesting drum parts, not to downplay any of the greats that have, done uh, crazy stuff before me, or not that you know what I mean.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, uh, the, I mean, is really early on the constant comparisons to Tommy Lee. It was like, man, you're the Tommy Lee of country music from like really early. So I was like, I'll take it, man. There might be a stigma, but I'm trying to do my thing, figure the thing out.
But I mean, I
Uh,
feel like a lot of the modern country stuff like has that rock influence. I mean, especially in Riley's music too. Like
oh,
there's rock undertones. Like
absolutely, absolutely. And I feel like, not only does the whole um I don't know. It's a group effort, always evolving,
Mhm.
leaning in certain directions, or uh, um, uh, leaning certain directions musically. I guess I got lucky in that, it kind of uh, it's fun to play. We're in a point in time that country music, like the heavy factor is kind of, up a little bit, having fun, getting rowdy, whatever. Uh, I don't know if I'd still be in the country world if Riley hadn't have, you know, um, uh, what's the right word? Like not taking me under his wing, but like, you know, understood that I really cared, and let me have the voice that I do. Let me play the way that I want to. He's never been one of those uh, 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 play the parts on the record type of person. It's like anybody that's ever in the band, anybody we've ever played with, it's like, you know, we're feeling it. We're flying by the seat of our pants. It's all personality driven.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I guess made me feel more comfortable about my place in the whole thing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, had Riley already gotten his record deal when you moved to town then, or was he kind of making some buzz and then you guys all moved up together when you came to Nashville?
Uh, I think I moved to Nashville maybe half a year, maybe a year before he signed.
Hmm.
Um, he had already been, I don't know, not to use the same language over again, but like that whole like DIY mindset of playing music wherever you can for whoever wants to be there.
Hmm.
When it comes to pop country, again, my view of it might be, rather small, but like the way that Riley thinks about his music, and um, uh, the way that he goes about having, or the way he's built his career, is very much uh, uh, independently driven, I guess, especially for those first few years.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of buzz. We were selling out shows all over the Southeast for a minute before any uh, 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 record label talks started coming in the mix, I guess, or at least seriously signing contracts started coming in the mix. Um, so I don't know. We were already really busy when he made that jump to signing. That was, I don't know. Up until that point, it was like, all right, things are very serious. And at that point, everybody else in the band was based out of Nashville, and I was the only Alabama guy.
Yeah.
So made more sense. Moved into a house with uh, uh, Tyler Galloway, who was playing guitar with him at the time and did for a few years. One of my uh, closest friends and incredible guitar player out of North Carolina. he's living over there now. But yeah, made the move when shit was, or excuse me, when stuff was, blowing up. And so, sorry if I swear. I'm trying to
Oh no,
keep it.
you go for it, man.
All
Now,
right, dude. All right.
when you first moved to town, did you feel less pressure to like kind of have to really get out there and network yourself hard since like you already moved to town with a band that was making buzz, or were you still going to like the whiskey jams and stuff like that to meet a bunch of other musicians?
Man, I'll be honest. I'm very much a homebody,
Mhm.
and I love being around people and playing shows and the community nature of like we're all in this together when it comes to like shows or concerts or functions or anything like that. Um, but when I'm not doing that, I've always been a very like I've got to recharge at home. Um, uh, I uh, I don't know. I need to spend time with myself. So it's been a constant struggle of trying to network more and be better about that, trying to get out of my own head
Mhm.
as far as talking to people. And I'm bad at remembering names, and I'm okay with faces, but like, I don't know, I've been a very self-conscious person for a long time.
Mhm.
To be honest, especially when I moved to Nashville, I was like really, I don't know. I'm an alcoholic. About 4 years, I'm coming up on 4 years in recovery, and those first couple of years living in Nashville, my drinking got in the way a lot as far as making connections and meeting people,
Mhm.
and a lot of friendships kind of dissolved or went away because of my own doing, not you know doing not doing fucked up shit, but like trying to, I don't know, trying to numb feelings in my own head,
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, just really got in my own way. So, um, yeah, trying to get better about that has been a uh, constantly in the forefront of my head. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get better about it now. But when I first moved to Nashville, and still now, I mean, we're busy all the time, man. And we've been really busy for a long time. Those first couple of years living in Nashville, we were doing, and this is 2018, 2019, we were doing like 160 dates a year.
Wow.
Uh, so like we're constantly out. And then Riley's playing like, don't know, at least 50% more on top of that, because when he signed the record deal, he's doing radio shows in between our, Weekend Warrior stuff.
Mhm.
So it was just like county fairs, and that summer, especially that summer, we were it was like Riley on radio shows every weekday, and then wherever he was during the weekday, we'd be doing like county fair shows. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we were on our first big like main or real tour with Brad Paisley and
Mhm.
Chris Lane in 2019. So I was doing that every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, having like a couple days off at most on like Sunday, Monday, but like constantly going, grinding. Um, uh, yeah. So that the whole networking thing and trying to maintain relationships, build friendships, and everything like that. It wasn't the easiest whenever you're just going
Right.
and playing everywhere, and meeting a bunch of people, trying to retain as much as you can is really tough for me, and I still have a hard time with it. So
Yeah. So when you're on the road now, what's a song that comes up in the set like every night that like you see coming up that kind of just gets you hyped? That's like one of your favorites to play night after night.
oh man, um dude, I heard Dave Grohl talk about it a good bit. Maybe it's coming up on 10 years ago. um um he got asked the same question, or maybe touched on it in a keynote speech. I saw him talk at South by Southwest in 2013.
Mhm.
He was like the keynote speaker that Sunday, and I think it came up in conversation then. He was talking about my favorite songs to play live um, are the ones that everybody gets hyped for. It's bigger than me. Like I have fun throughout the whole set. No matter what we're playing, whether it's new stuff, bunch of old stuff. Um, uh, uh, you know, I have my favorite Riley songs, but they're usually the deeper cuts, like B-sides, whatever, the ones that aren't the radio hits. At this point in time, playing those radio hits when everybody knows all the words, and like even when we were first getting out, like going to the West Coast and like playing the up and comer stage at whatever festival, and like that front row of people, like for the first time in Washington, knows the words to "There Was This Girl" or like "Georgia Time" or anything like that. That that gets me really excited, man. Um, not only for um, uh, just like everybody in the moment and the experience in the crowd, or just like it's a very together feeling, but like Riley's my boy, dude, and that dude's been trying and going and grinding for a long time, and like seeing that like connection between people, with any of the big songs. I love that so much, man. There was this girl at the end of every set every night, would, especially the ones like we were in uh uh Tucson, Phoenix, New Mexico, uh Denver, just these past couple weeks.
Mhm.
And uh yeah, the bouncing of the crowd. There was this girl, it just like gets me hype. uh get back to the Dave Grohl thing. He said, uh, "All My Life." He wrote that song like '97, something like that. I think that's when it came out.
Mhm.
Um, he's played that at every single show for going on 30 years now, and that's his favorite song because everybody is just amped as shit, and everybody's like in the moment, and we're all, I don't know, not to be a broken record, but like we're all doing this thing together, man. And that feeling is the greatest thing ever to me. So,
Totally.
um, I love, personally, I like, uh, Put on My Mind's a fun song to play.
Mhm.
Um, uh, uh, Different Round Here is one of my favorite ways to open a set in any band I've been with. Just I don't know. I love music that makes you feel like you're floating, and it's kind of, I don't know, uh, that feeling when the set opens up and uh, uh, Riley walks on, the lights come up, and everybody's just, just amped, and uh, you're just like falling into that flow of the set. I mean, I love that feeling. I'm trying to think. Anytime we play new stuff that we haven't played before in front of a bunch of people,
Mhm.
I love that feeling too. That,
Sure.
coming from just like drunken punk shows where like the uh everybody's flying by the seat of your pants, and it's just like, chaos everywhere, and you've never played this song in front of people and you're excited about it, and you don't know if, you know that one guy is going to remember that one part, and then he hits it and it gets you like, I love that. um uh there was a minute with Riley, for those first few years, uh and this is where I was talking about, sorry to get rambly, dude. I don't mean to
Oh no.
like, weave in and out of, topics or questions or whatever, but like those first few years, we never practiced. We were playing in front, or we were playing shows so often, um, and kind of living all over the place, that like anytime that we tried out new stuff or learned new songs, or Riley wanted to throw something into a set, we were doing it in front of a bunch of people. Um, uh, and that, I don't know. I've always thought that nervousness and excitement are the same emotion, just different connotations, positive and negative. So, like in the same way that you feel nervous getting ready for some crazy show, or you're about to do this thing for the first time, I don't know. If you frame it the right way and just like don't know. It's easy. It's easy to get excited about it in my brain, I guess, or in when you look at it a certain way. And uh, I love those moments.
When you
Just
guys started playing Atlantic City, which is I think is still one you guys throw in a lot, is that one that he just threw
yeah.
in on the fly too?
Uh, it gets thrown in on it. It's a special night when he throws it in
Mhm.
now. It used to be regular in the set. Now it's one of those go-tos, like, you know, third, fourth song to turn around and say Atlantic City. And he starts it and we all fall in later. I love playing that song.
Oh
I
yeah,
love I love being a part of it might be strong language, but I love being a part of that song's history and the things that that song has done and people that have played that. I don't know. I love that.
for
So
sure. Now,
yeah,
I
man.
like to close my interviews by asking, what's a piece of advice you've learned along your journey that you'd give to the aspiring musicians out there that want to be in your place?
Be yourself, man. Be confident in yourself. Um, always uh I don't know. I'll be 32 this year. I still feel like I'm learning myself and trying to be better as a person day to day. But I think if you could, if I don't know, finding that razor's edge of being confident in yourself and being who you are and going where you want to go, but also just trying to be better than you were the day before and uh, be aware of yourself. Um, uh, don't know, be it, uh, uh, looking for expansion, looking for ways of thinking that you haven't thought before, whether it's musically or philosophically.
Mhm.
Um, uh, that's the main thing. You can chase trends all you want to, and you can lose your sense of self in that way, I guess. But if you uh, don't know, if you embrace your own personality, you embrace your thing. Um, not trying to blow smoke up Riley's ass or anything, but like that's what that guy's done, and that's why he's the place that he is or has gotten to the place that he is, because he is exactly who he is and has been in front of all these people. And uh, there's a lot to learn from that. I get a lot from him in that way. That I'm trying to be exactly who I am, and that's what I tell anybody to do: is do exactly what you be who you are and be comfortable in it. Learn how to be comfortable in it because uh, it's the personality, it's the individual. I don't know. Us as individuals bring each other together. It's the things that make each one of us ourselves that are the most interesting parts about us, and that you get the most from, I guess.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and check out my music on all streaming platforms at Justin McCormick. See you guys next time.